Shadir Sanders logo is literally a $sign with a 2 on it. That conveys to us that number 2 is all about the bag. He branded it. Your fiance has a $sign on her finger. She branded it. So what does that convey? Is she married to the money?
In any other year, Ashton Genty would run away with this award. But unfortunately for Ashton Genty, he has to go up against something we just don't see, which is a player who has the impact of 2 elite players in one body, and that is Travis Hunter, two-way player, racked up 15 total touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 31 tackles, 1 forced fumble, played over 150 snaps. I've seen a lot of discourse on the Heisman race between Genty and Hunter, and it feels like you always have to remind people that the Heisman Award is not an MVP award. It is not the most valuable player for a team. It is the best player in college football. It comes down to Travis Hunter being something we just don't see. You're just up against a unicorn. There's gonna be a lot of conversations on who this should go to. I still stand, it has to be Travis Hunter.
I shot myself on Instagram and she dubbed me.
I didn't dub him. I just didn't respond to him. He wasn't my type.
I wasn't her type.
I left him in my DMs for like 2 months. He was friend zone because I didn't like. He was like, "Am I friend zone?" I was like, "Yes." I was not into him.
I try not to focus on other people, focus on myself first, you know. If my little brother asks me for something, I go get it for him. You know, that's pretty much my main focus right now, to help my siblings. So I just continue to go as far as I can so they can see and follow my footsteps where they don't have to ask me for anything. As far as my family, they still old enough to work. I had to go put in those hours, I had to put in those countless days where, like Coach said, I don't get tired. It's because I adapted to, like, I don't have to go to sleep. I need to just keep working, and whatever I get done is what I get done. And they brought me this far, so I tell them, like, you still gotta work. Just like I gotta work, somebody gotta work. Yeah, nah, it's not hard conversations. Trust me, I'm just straightforward. Like, I had to work to this point. I ain't even get to the end of, I ain't get to the league yet, so I can't be out here trying to help everybody. Yeah. I gotta help myself first, and I gotta keep going. I gotta keep protecting my brand.
All right, people, what's going on? So, I don't know how many of you guys watch college sports. I really don't watch college sports all that much. I gave up on that a while back. Every now and again, if Ohio State is competing for a national championship, I will tune in. Maybe I'll tune in for, you know, the national championship in wrestling, something like that. Ever since Bo Nickel left Penn State, I'm kind of, you know, out of the loop. But I don't really watch a lot of college sports. But if you guys watch any amount of college sports, you know who Travis Hunter is. Even if you don't watch college sports, you know that there's been a lot of hype surrounding, you know, Deion Sanders, his sons Shador and Shiloh. You know, there's been a lot of hoopla with Jackson State and now Colorado State, or Colorado, I should say. When it comes to these guys, they brought a lot of hype and anticipation to that school. Here's the deal. On my channel, I have said it several times. Don't save women. Don't try to save women. Don't stick your nose between a man and his woman's business. I even had a clip that I was playing early on where Charleston White went in depth about why you should not step between a man and a woman as it pertains to a potential domestic altercation.
You better leave me alone about me and my bitch. Nigga, you better go on. Nigga, this me and my hoe. You better stay out of this.
And then,
that's how niggas die.
That's cool.
Me or you gotta die about this bitch.
And it's chances.
And now both our mamas sad. Marvin Gaye had to kill his daddy, or his daddy killed his son for one of them for getting in fuck about that bitch. That's how, don't get in that. Man, don't get in that.
If I see a person putting their hands on a woman, I'm gonna put my hands on them because I love them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you that ain't,
I'm
we not
shooting
doing
out
it.
anger. Yeah, I'm shooting out anger. Man, nigga ain't got no business getting in my business, what I'm saying. This is my bitch. Nigga, you better leave us alone. Now everybody finna die. Cause you want, now your kids finna be without their father cause you want to save this bitch.
I'm gonna be at home.
You don't know that.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna be at home.
Because what ends up happening, it's always the good guy that loses his life. It ain't never the bad. We don't watch this situation hold, so that's why I don't get into domestic situation. If I see a nigga whooping this bitch, I mind my business.
Yeah, that's some sucker shit.
Cause I done got in far before and the bitch say, it's all right, Blue. Oh, okay, shit. This what they do. Let me get out of this. This what they do.
No. So if somebody put their hands on your daughter, then what's gonna happen?
Depending on what she did.
No.
You can't tell me now, nigga, I was raised like this. You might know to you. Nigga, I won't know what the best if they fucking.
Listen here, let me tell you something.
Especially if they fucking.
Nah, that's where
how about- I
you
don't-
done said a lot of truth.
I don't get involved. I
Charleston.
don't get involved. In
You done said a lot of
domestic
truth,
relationship.
but I can't agree with
I done
that.
seen a lot of niggas play Captain Save a hoe trying to jump in a relationship, save a woman, and this nigga get killed, and she be putting money on that nigga books that killed you for trying to save her.
Mm-hmm. But
She coming to see that nigga, she writing that nigga, she still taking care of that nigga, and you done jumped in. Now your family is sad, and this bitch still fucking with this nigga that was slapping on her. Nah, I ain't one of them kind of niggas. Yeah. Nah, that was a sucker role. My nigga will be at the funeral and say, man, my nigga went out like a sucker.
Here's the deal. Even if it's not a domestic altercation, there's some people you can't save. And just like you can't save a woman, you can't save a man. And Travis Hunter is a man who does not want to be saved. That is a man who wants to be destroyed. Everybody can see that his girlfriend is a walking, talking, living, breathing disaster waiting to happen. Everybody but him. If you don't know, he is the biggest thing in sports right now, in college football, I should say. Like I said, I don't really watch college football, so I don't have any kind of recency bias. I can only compare him to a Percy Harvin back at Florida, or maybe a Reggie Bush at USC back in 2004. Now he's not putting up the kind of numbers that they were, but he has that kind of hype. If you guys are old enough, then you know Reggie Bush was like everything back then. Percy Harvin, this dude was everything back then. Like, they had a lot of hype. They were high first round draft picks, and they did not disappoint come Saturday. Here's the deal. Travis Hunter is that same type of player, not quite the same quality, not quite the same numbers, but he's up there. He's a very solid player, two-way player, which is very rare. And he's kicking butt. He's taking names. He's probably going to win the Heisman, and he's probably going to be the first overall pick. Here's the problem. This man's girlfriend is a disaster waiting to happen, and she doesn't respect him one bit. The problem is people are trying to wake him up and tell him, hey, you need to cut this girl off and not marry her, or at least, be more stringent in how you deal with her, but he can't see it. When I tell you that you can't save people like this, you have to understand, this person, they don't respect themselves. So you can't tell this person to make a move that is going to be equivalent of putting yourself first. This man, if you look at his stats, he didn't do all that much at Jackson State. Then he comes to Colorado. He has about 750 or so yards receiving his first season, and now this is 2023, and now in 2024 he's closing in on about 1,200 yards. He'll probably finish the season with 1,300 yards. By this man's own admission, he's been dating his girlfriend for about 2 years. So if we look at that, we can say 2 years probably includes this year. So that means he started dating this girl when he got to Colorado. So that means 2023 he starts dating her. Well, think about this. He was a nobody in 2023. She herself said, I didn't want to date him because he wasn't my type. He hit me in the DMs and I left him on red. And I only hit him up because I needed a party to go to. Like, I was going to a party and I needed somebody to go with me. So, I hit him up. She's basically saying he was always not on her radar and not an option for her until it became convenient. Now, if you think about this, I don't know exactly when they met, but if they've been dating for 2 years, that means they probably met as soon as he got there. So that means they met early 2023. He's probably not playing in the season. He plays that season and he amasses 700 some odd yards and however many touchdowns. But how did he get this girl in the first place? He probably had to use clout. He probably had to say, hey, come to my game. He probably had to say, hey, this is Shedeur Sanders and this is Deion Sanders. He probably had to show his life off to her and qualify himself. He probably had to call her after every game where he scored touchdowns and he got 100 yards. And then that's when she was like, okay, he's probably going to be somebody. And now in this season, he's obviously playing lights out. He's crushing it. So now, of course, she's sold. But what sold her? It wasn't like you hit this girl in the DMs and she was like, oh man, it's this guy. She didn't know who you was, most likely. Most likely she didn't know who you were, just coming from Jackson State. You needed some sort of clout to sell her on this. Keep in mind, she said, I left him on red for a few months. Well, a few months into a college football season, that's basically the whole first half of the season. So he had to show her who he was first. So he had to go out there, put up a solid season and do everything he did in his, I guess, sophomore season. And that's when she was sold on him. So she made you qualify yourself. She made you prove yourself. And now she's down for you. But then in your biggest moment in this game where you guys just completely crushed Oklahoma State, I do believe it was, she comes out here and she's copping an attitude and she's acting the way she's acting. And she's telling people that you weren't her type. And, you got people, he has celebrity men like Cameron, Mace, Godfrey the comedian, telling him, bro, slow down. Be careful when it comes to this girl. You need to check this girl. Her attitude is all wrong. She is a disaster waiting to happen. But he's telling people, hey, y'all stay in y'all's place. Y'all stay in y'all's place. There are interviews with this guy where he's saying he has no problem telling his family, hey, if I gotta work, y'all gotta work. So apparently he's good with his money. Like he has the NIL deal. He's making money off of that. So he has no problem telling his family to stay in their place when they ask for money. But he can't check his girl. That to me sounds like he would normally be generous with his money toward his family, but maybe his girl is in his ear saying, hey, you need to make sure your family get up and go to work. That's our money, right? Not necessarily that directly, but you know how women can be very controlling of a man when they're trying to get to his money. So she might be trying to isolate him financially from his family. Not saying that she is, but it's a possibility given the fact that she just looks so unruly and she was never really down for this guy. Keep in mind, I'm going to say this, and I promise you I'm not trying to hate, but it is what it is. Travis is not an aesthetically pleasing guy. Like I would never say that I'm a good looking guy, but Travis is definitely an objectively ugly guy. Like I would call myself objectively ugly, but he's definitely an objectively unattractive male. His girl, she's not that high on the list. Like she's not that great looking, but she might have been the best that he has ever gotten with. That might be the prettiest girl he's ever been in the presence of. Keep in mind, when he was at Jackson State, he probably he was a nobody statistically speaking. He wasn't doing anything on the football field, so he probably would not have had his pick of the litter in terms of women. He comes to Colorado, and this is the first girl he can get with, and somebody probably convinced her to give him a shot because he was kind of a bigwig. Who knows? All I know is this seems like a situation where she don't really like him, and he's head over heels in love with her because that's the first girl who gave him some attention, and this girl is probably above average for whatever area he comes from. I don't know where he went to high school. I don't know where he's from originally. I would assume he's from a predominantly black area. That being what it is, this might be his form of dating an exotic woman. So this might be the most beautiful non-black woman he's ever been able to get access to, right? And now he's head over heel in love with this girl, but she's clearly going to ruin his life. And everybody can see it but him. And I'm going to put it to you like this. The only person you can't wake up is a person that's already woke. And his nose is wide open and he's blinded by love. And he's not going to listen to anything anybody says. So, there's nothing you can really do. And the only thing that you can really take away from this is just like you don't try to save women from bad men, it is extremely difficult to save men from bad women because they don't want it. And they will fight you behind it. Now, keep in mind, Travis hasn't gotten ungracious with anybody on the internet. He always conducts himself really well. He hasn't been in any trouble with the law. You never hear about him at nightclubs or anything like that. So he seems like a really good kid. He seems like an amazing young man, but it just seems like he's headed for destruction as it pertains to this woman. And unfortunately, as history has shown us, he's not the only one. A lot of good men get destroyed by women. They get destroyed by these women, fast women, loose women, the most beautiful woman they come across from their, coming out of their small town and step into the limelight of college football or basketball or whatever the case might be. And it seems like he's about to become another statistic because this girl's behavior and just the way, even her body language in pictures and in TikTok sketches and stuff like that. Look at the body language. Her body is always turned out. Her pelvis is always turned out and away from him. And he's always turned in towards her. That means he's feeling her, but she ain't feeling him. I'm not a body language expert. This is just basic analysis. It's an ugly situation, but if you guys have young men in your life and you're trying to, protect them, tell them these things up front. You got to protect them before the succubus gets to them, because by the time that woman gets to them and they start laying down with each other and exchanging fluids, and he ain't never did that with nobody, and this girl happens to, be decently pretty, which, keep in mind, not trying to hate on this young lady, she ain't no 10. She not a 9, an 8, or a 7. Take it how you will. When that happens, they're going to lose their mind. And there ain't going to be nothing you can tell them. So it's an ugly situation, but just like you can't save men, just like you can't save women physically from men, a lot of times, you can't save men financially from women. And it looks like this might end up costing him a lot because he's trying to marry this girl. There probably won't be a prenup. And she's probably going to have a baby or two and dip. Not saying that's going to happen. Hopefully they live happily ever after, but we know how these things go. So I'm not going to beat this into the dirt. Let me know what you guys think, and I will get back at you on the next one. Peace.